What is up, Nickel City Mafia? Welcome to the Rush Hour. I hope everyone's having a fantastic 3-day weekend. For those of you that have to work, I still hope you're having a fantastic weekend. Jessica. How you doing on this beautiful 3-day weekend? For me, I think I asked you. You have a 3-day weekend as well. How you doing
Yes,
this weekend?
I'm doing fantastic, other than the weather here. The weather is storming, cold front's coming through. It was 90, 92 yesterday, and we'll be in the around 80 to 78 tomorrow.
Okay, nice. Well, hopefully, fingers crossed, nothing major, no power outages or anything like that. So, hope all that goes well. Any plans for tomorrow? Labor Day or a big barbecue. We'll probably just stay to ourselves, but barbecue some stuff tomorrow. What about you?
I think I'm going to be heading over to a girlfriend's tomorrow for hang out, and just be with her.
Okay, very nice. So, you know, for me, I want to share a story here. So while we're waiting for some people to come in, by the way, when you join the channel, please give us a like, smash that like for us, drop a nickel on that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. And always, we love the comments during the show and after. But this weekend, so my son had a tournament in San Diego, which is about an hour from us. And, his team, he plays for a club soccer team here in Temecula. His team has struggled. They've been together for, I don't know, 3 to 4 years, but they've moved him around different teams. And so there hasn't been a chance to get a chemistry, right?
Mhm.
So they struggle in these tournaments. And this tournament, he comes to me on Saturday. We had to leave early at 2 games on Saturday. And they win their first game, which is great, 4-0. And it's rare for us to get wins in these tournaments because there are some good soccer players out there, especially at the age of 11 and 12. So Saturday was his birthday, turns 12, and it was good and bad. It's good, it's bad that we had to travel
Mhm.
and have most of the day spent at soccer. But he says to me, "Dad, I'm going to score a goal today." And my son maybe has scored 2 or 3 goals in his soccer career over five
Mhm.
years, so it's rare. But he says, "I'm going to score a goal today for Paul and Jacob." Paul's my brother who
Okay. Oh,
passed
I'm
away years
sorry.
ago, and my wife's brother Jacob passed away about less than 60 days ago. So less than 2 months. Says, "I'm going to score a goal." I'm like, "Okay, buddy, let's go." So sure enough, in the second game, they were shifting him around. He plays forward, he plays center, and then he
Midfielder.
plays midfielder, exactly. And then he plays defense. So you
Mhm.
never knew I didn't even know if he's going to have a chance to score a goal. But
Mhm.
sure enough, they play him at midfielder,
Mhm.
and they're getting beat 4-0. Not much going on. Not much offense. I don't even know if we had a shot on goal, honestly. But there was this play, and he breaks away. There was a great pass, and
Mhm.
somehow he's now the forward.
Okay.
And he's got great speed. He's a physical kid, but he doesn't use it like I would like him to. But he breaks away, and there's two kids, one on each side, kind of trying to keep him from going. He's trying to sprint
Mhm.
because he's very fast, and the goalie starts to come out, right? So my son, while he's fighting off these two kids left and right, he actually hits the ball, right? Taps it past the
Mhm.
goaltender. And it felt like slow motion, Jessica. I felt like that ball, and it had to roll a good amount, I'm gonna say 20 yards, maybe 25, even more. So he
Mhm.
kicks it past the goaltender and it's rolling slowly, slowly. He gets taken down, he falls.
Yeah,
I'll be darned if that thing doesn't go into the goal. Right. He
that's
scores a
great.
goal. It was fantastic. Then my wife and I told her, I said, "I feel like the heavens were helping Jonah out today because of
Mhm.
what he said." And she's like, there was this beautiful white butterfly flying around us right before that happened. And then the butterfly went on the field right by Jonah. And
Oh,
sure enough, so if you're a believer or not, I feel like that was the heavens coming down to
yeah,
help my son score a goal. So it's pretty cool.
that's nice.
Yeah, it was awesome. Today wasn't as exciting. They played one of the top teams. I think there is, and of course we got beat there. But anyhow,
Okay.
good story.
Mhm.
Let's see who's out there in the chat. If we have anyone, nobody in the comments yet. I do see some folks out there join in, and please let us know who's out there. All right, Jessica, we're gonna get into the show. Well, by the way, if you're wondering where Jake is, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. He had a 2-day turnaround trip to Vegas. He said that his fantasy group, the fantasy football group, they all agreed once they got to 10 years in that league that they were going to travel out to Vegas and have the draft there. So he
Okay.
traveled out early Friday. I don't know what night they had the draft, but he got home early today, and he says, My voice is wasted. I don't think I can do the show tonight." So he'll be back next week, all healed up, I'm sure. But thank you, Jessica, for filling in tonight and joining us once again. You were there last week for us, and we got glowing reviews. So thank you.
Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah. So all right, well, let's get into we got 4 good topics today. And the first one I just wanted to ask you, I kind of want a reality check from you, Jessica. If my friends, they know I'm a diehard Bills fan, and
Mhm.
at work when I'm ever there, they're like, "What do you think of the Bills this year? What do you think?" And I've been saying 12-5, 11-6,
Mhm.
12-5. But when I'm alone, I'm thinking to myself, and I'm like, "Wow, if I was an outsider."
Mhm.
Well, and I am. Like, I only follow the Bills, but let's
Mhm.
say somebody told me the Chiefs just lost their 2 starting safeties. They're gone. They're no longer starting this year. If they tell me their top linebacker is not playing this year till later in the season, if they tell me Leonard Floyd, one of their top edge rushers last year, is not no longer there, and then they go to the offensive side and they say, yeah, the Chiefs lost their top 2 receivers from last year. They now have a new center, Mitch
Mhm.
Morse. Well, whoever the center was, they have a new center who was our center for the last X number of years and had great chemistry with Mahomes. I'd say to myself, like, if we were doing a podcast and I was evaluating that team, I'd say, there's no way this is a rebuild. That team's not winning the Super Bowl. Again, I'm just using the Chiefs as an example. I'm like, they're going to regress. So help me out here, Jessica. Is 12-5 realistic?
Yes, 12-5 is realistic. And you bring up Kansas City.
Yep.
I remember like 2, 3 years ago, they revamped their entire offensive line, got rid of everyone, brought 5 new players in, and they didn't suffer at all. It's plug and play in the NFL. That's, they had the honey badger back there as a safety at one point. They got rid of him. They didn't drop off. To me, 80% of the game is having a great quarterback, having a good coach, and a good GM. If you have those 3 things, you're 80% of the way there.
All right. Well, that's fair. And that's what I keep telling myself, JA17, JA17.
Mm-hmm.
And even when Tyreek Hill left the Chiefs, I was like, man, yeah, they're going to have a big decline this year. It didn't really happen.
Mm.
So I have that to kind of feed off of. And we got Roy out there saying, as an eternal pessimist, I think the Bills will struggle to go 10-7. Roy, do you think that is going to get them to the playoffs?
I'm curious, how old is Roy?
Roy just turned 60. We had his 60th
Okay.
birthday celebration on Nickel City Mafia. I think it was this year. It was earlier this year, not that long ago.
Okay, so he was around for the good times,
He was. He
for
was.
the 4 Super Bowls,
Yes.
as you and I both were. So
Yes.
I was just wondering why, I talk or see some of the younger fans who never had the good times, and they're pessimists all the time. Whatever negative thought goes through their head, like Sean does, goes through their heads. And football is not that way. It's some years you're going to have a good offense and good defense. Some years you are not. But when you have Josh Allen, you're going to have a good year. There's nothing that's going to prevent it unless he gets injured. He took this team to the playoffs before we had Diggs, before any of the offensive line. The offensive line right now is so much greater than it was in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
And so as long as you have Josh Allen and Sean McDermott running the defense, I know Bobby Babbitt is doing it. You're going to have a good team.
Gotcha. And I agree with that. Again, though, but we didn't see anything really show up in preseason that made me confident. But yes, Oompa Oompa. I love that movie. I love that song. And yes, I'm red today. I mean, I'm not blue like the Oompa Loompas, but I am red because I was out at the soccer tournament. I try to protect myself with an umbrella, but I'm Irish. I burn in like 3 minutes of sun when I got a
Mhm.
sunburn. So I know, doggone it, good to see you out there. And yes, don't make me sing that song. You're making me want to sing that. I love that song. But yeah, Roy, we'll see. Again, there's I've said to myself, I could see 12-5. I could see 8-9. And
Mhm.
realistically, it's probably somewhere in the middle there, 10 wins or 11. I think 11 wins are going to be needed to get to the playoffs. What do you think, Jessica? What is the win total we're going to need to even have a chance as a wild card?
I think 11 and 6.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking too.
Um, that will guarantee you're in. I think the biggest change is going to be what is the offense going to look like under Joe Brady. We did not see Joe Brady's offense last year. It was whatever Ken Dorsey left for him, and he did his best with it. And he got us a second, the second seed, got us to play the Chiefs, who went on and won the Super Bowl. So
Yep.
I'm really thinking that Joe Brady's going to do fantastic for us this year.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I think that's one of the things that if you're an outsider and you've not been keeping an eye or even understand what Brady was able to do last year with his team when he took over, um, that's what makes me think positive things in 12-5. But I just needed that reality check. Now, the Go Bills podcast is saying how short you look. Look, I'm Oompa Loompa, and Jessica is Willy Wonka in this show. All right. And if she throws it to me, I'll do the Oompa Loompa song and all that cool little dance that they did. I did know that one of the Willy Wonkas, I think, is on the remake. They actually look orange. Their faces orange, right?
Yeah.
So I know I'm close to that too with this redness in my face.
Yeah, played by Hugh Grant, I thought it was.
The Oompa Loompa?
Yeah, the the,
Yeah, and
the,
one
the newest, the
yes,
latest one.
the newest one, yes, for sure. Yeah. Let's see what else we got. The AFC East has tough schedules. 10-7 could actually give you a division title. How's that for optimism? Love that. I mean, it is true. Like that was another piece of it, Jessica, I didn't really mention is that schedule is harder than it was last year.
Oh yeah.
And it's extremely difficult to when you look at it. That was my latest reality check. I looked at the schedule and like, dang, this is not easy.
Mhm. Yeah, the easiest games that we're going to have is against the Patriots, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
And then probably the Cardinals in week 1.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that in a little bit as well. So, all right, let's pivot over to the buzz of the week. And this is comical to me. It's like if I need to come up with a show title, I could say things like, ESPN, they polled 103 NFL players, asking them who's the most overrated player. And 11 of them said Josh Allen. So, I mean, if I
Mhm.
made that up, I feel like they always say this. We polled 103 anonymously, but you have to feel, Jessica, like how are they able to get a hold of these players? Probably emailed. I don't know, agents. I don't know how they would have done this, where there would have been enough of 100, even 103 players together. And you have to feel like they coached them. Like they might have said,
Mhm.
who's the most overrated? And they throw in between Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, and maybe one other name. And of course, they're steering them towards that answer. But it's crazy to me, Jessica. Josh Allen overrated by 11 NFL players? Come on now.
Um, I think there's a correlation with him being voted the best trash talker
Yes,
in the
yes.
NFL.
Yeah, I
And
heard that
so,
too.
can you just imagine that some of these players who had on the receiving end of his trash talking might just not like him very well?
I have to think so. And I wonder how many of these polled players were from the AFC East teams, right? You have to
Mhm.
think. I just can't imagine, like, if it's not someone who plays Josh very often, them just picking him. Picking him out of the sky. Oh, it's Josh Allen. Come on now. We've had many shows. We've had, there was what was it? Not that long ago, they said um, a ESPN executive, right? Remember that one? That was like a few months back.
It wasn't ESPN executive. They had talked to an NFL executive.
NFL executive. Okay,
Mhm.
same type of thing, right?
Yeah.
Josh
Mhm.
Allen's overrated. He makes too many turnovers. And I got to tell you something. Like Josh Allen, if you look at his stats in the playoffs, he's one of the best. One of the best when it really, really matters. He's put his team an opportunity with chances to win the 13-second game. His defense let him down last year
Mhm.
against the Chiefs. He gets him to within a field goal. Bass let him down, and his coaching staff let him down. I feel there was some bad calls. Like, you go for it. You don't have Bass, who's been struggling, come in. But my goodness, overrated?
No,
Never, Jessica. Come on now.
no, I don't think so.
So
He's
yeah,
never been overrated. He has the most touchdowns of any player in his first 5 years.
yeah,
More than Patrick Mahomes.
it's
More than
insane.
anyone.
And you're overrating him. Saying if anything, he's underrated. If
Mhm.
anything, he's underrated. Yeah, Roy. I don't know, Roy. Maybe you can throw out some show topics. Just make some things up. I mean, Roy, we appreciate you. We love you. You're out here supporting us. We don't know. Maybe we have connections to the NFL. Maybe you have connections to ESPN. Just make up some random things. My connections at ESPN said Pat Mahomes was really nothing without Andy Reid. If he didn't have Travis Kelce, he would just be nobody. I mean, those are the type of things that I feel people just make up. And Josh Allen must be the most talked about one. I mean, he must bring the most views to their shows because they're always talking about Josh Allen. I don't hear this stuff about Pat Mahomes. I mean, obviously they probably wouldn't because he's won so many Super Bowls, but I don't hear anyone else. Right? There's other people that this could be said about.
Yeah, I think, Josh is one of the faces of the NFL. And he's a good-looking guy. He's, he's successful in what he does, and he's just hasn't won an MVP, hasn't won a Super Bowl, and so he's going to be a punching bag until that happens.
I think this year, if the Bills, with what everyone's saying about the Bills, this is a regression year. They're not going to make the playoffs. They're not going to win the East. If Josh Allen leads this team to the playoffs and the East, there's no way you cannot vote him as MVP. I mean,
And
this.
if he's responsible for about 50 touchdowns, no, I think he's definitely
Yeah,
MVP quality.
yeah, exactly. Here, let's see. ESPN gone downhill. Yeah, I wish
Mm-hmm.
see Mafia should buy them out. I wish. Roy, yeah, views and clickbait, it's what makes the world go round these days. And it really is. And there's so many people who love it. But I think they know. I mean, these marketers or these people, these producers, they know exactly what they're doing. They know that there's a lot of haters of Josh Allen. So those haters are going to come in and say, yeah, we agree with you. And they know the Bills Mafia is not going to tolerate it whatsoever. So they're going to jump on defending their guy, Josh Allen. It's comical to me. And I wish I would love to hear who those 11 players were, right?
I can imagine that the defensive tackle who was down in Miami, I can't think of his name right offhand, that is no longer with them, who typically got very friendly with Josh and
Oh,
Piles.
yeah. Brett, who was that? Because I can't think of him. I know you're exactly who you're talking
Yeah.
about. But Brett will tell us here in a little bit. Maybe even Roy Collins. Who was that? Wilkins. Yeah,
Yeah.
Wilkins for sure. I bet he was definitely one of them.
Mm-hmm. and a bunch of other ones. The debate whether or not Josh Allen's better than Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
And that got killed the year before, and now it's back again. And they're gonna all season long. That's gonna be a discussion point again and again and again, and they're just gonna feed off of that. And like Roy says, it's clickbait.
Yeah. It's like my son. That's what he uses on me all the time. I'm sure you heard me say that he's a
Mhm.
Ravens fan because of Madden when Lamar Jackson was on the cover. And every time he he gets in a debate with me,
Mhm.
Lamar Jackson being better, he always likes to throw out the two MVPs. How many MVPs does Josh have, Dad? And then he like does the drop the mic. Like he doesn't have a real mic, but he
How many
pretends.
playoff wins does Lamar
That's what
have?
I tell him. That's what I tell him. So we beat Lamar in the playoffs, and he watched that game with me. The
Mhm.
good thing when the Bills play the Ravens, he's like, Dad, I'll be happy with whoever wins. So he does throw that out there, but
Uh,
if somebody else he loses to, he gets very upset. But yeah, he has that debate with me all the time. I think he hacked my older son's phone, or he stole it
mhm.
and got into one of our threads. I think you were out there in the chat that night where he's like, Lamar Jackson's better than Josh Allen. Do you remember that? I think you were out
Yeah.
there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do
Um,
remember that week.
So Roy says Wilkins gets to play Dr. Whit Mahomes this year.
We hope so.
Where did he go to? Where did he go to? Anyone
What?
know? Wilkins. Where did Wilkins go? Is he in that AFC West? I guess because that's what it sounds like from Roy. Because I get to play him twice a year.
Mhm.
But anyhow, Jessica, let's talk about what happened this past week. Yeah, he went to Vegas. Okay, thanks, Roy. Thanks, Brett. So we had our show last week. We're kind of projecting the final 53-man roster, and I don't know if we should say we did well or bad, Jessica, because there really was so many locks on that 53-man roster. We only had to, I don't know, guess like half a dozen players. We got a couple wrong, and I know
Yeah.
earlier in the show you said, "Hey, everyone gets them wrong," but
Mhm.
but it was all good in the end, right? Because all the players that a lot of folks wanted, Frank Gore Jr. got signed
Mhm.
to the practice squad, right?
Yeah.
I think the ones we missed on was Darrington Evans, which he got signed to no, actually, he made the team. He's on the IR designated for return. So I was
Mhm.
like, cool, because I liked what I saw from him. He's a former third rounder. He's just had a hard time staying healthy, but he looked extremely well, both running and receiving out of the backfield. Um, and I'll throw it to you in a second. Kingsley Jonathan, we thought would make the squad. He
Mhm.
signed to the practice squad once again. I think the biggest surprise for me, and you can tell me what you think, Casey Toohill making the squad. We didn't have him making the squad. And then finally, one last thing, just kind of throw it to you.
Mhm.
I'm not a fan of the Bills signing for Brandon Cottington.
Okay.
They traded it for the Jets. 2026, we get Cottington, and they get a 6th round
It's a
draft pick,
switch of a 6th and a 7th.
7th, right? And we get a 7th. And I don't know, just because 6th rounders have panned out
Mhm.
well for us. I mean, just like a Christian Benford.
Yeah.
Damar Hamlin a few years back, I think he was a 6th rounder as well. But what were
There
your
was a
thoughts
6th
on the
rounder last year too.
yeah, yeah. So 53-man roster. We missed a few, but so does everybody. But what were your thoughts when it was all said and done?
I think we did as well as anybody else in this sphere of Buffalo Bill commentators.
Yeah.
We missed a few. The biggest surprise to me was that the how many were defensive players versus offensive players. I think it was 23 offensive players and 27 defensive players. And that's not typical. Typical, it's either 25-25 or it's geared towards the offense. So that was the biggest surprise for me.
What did you think about Hardy and this letting him go? I mean, not
I
letting him go. They signed him to the practice squad, but still, I thought it for sure. Like Roy's saying, he was surprised as well that he wasn't signed on the roster.
Hardy made mistakes during preseason games. He wasn't how do I say he wasn't proficient back there returning kicks, returning punts. He just he wasn't ready for prime time, and they weren't secure with him, and they're not going to put a rookie out there unless they're secure with what he's going to be doing.
Okay, that's fair. And I was thinking, was there anyone else like because Hardy not only showed up as a defensive back, I thought he did extremely well, but I didn't see with my own eyes, I didn't see much that he did wrong. But again, I'm not watching every
It
play, I
was
suppose.
just returning kicks. McDermott said that was the only reason why they picked him in the of any player. They wanted him to return kicks.
Gotcha. Well, I'm going to rattle off the practice squad because, like you said, a lot of these folks. Well, let's finish this off with the big one: 53-man roster, the Cinderella story of the year. Joe Andreessen making the 53-man roster. The story ended the way a lot of Buffalonians wanted, and just a really good feel-good story. The kid did what he needed to do, and he made the roster. We called it. We said he's making the roster. I know there were some doubters saying, there's no way this undrafted free agent. I mean, he was passed. He actually practiced for the Chiefs. They cut him. Tried out for the Chiefs. And of course, he was an undrafted free agent. So great story there, Jessica. I'm just going to rattle through the practice squad folks because these are folks that, and again, like Brett said, nobody claimed any of our players. So Kareem Jackson, safety, I think that's really good to have the veteran out there. Zach Davidson, tight end. We signed him to the practice squad. And Tyrell Shavers, who I think we missed on Shavers. I think we said Shavers was going to make the squad. But he's back to practice squad. He was with us last year. Lewis Seen was a nice signing, interesting signing, right? Bringing him to the practice squad. Safety, I think he's a former first-round pick, I believe, right?
First round out of Minnesota.
Yeah, who fractured his leg, I think, in I don't know.
Compound fracture.
The worst you can have as far as a fracture goes, and he's just been struggling to come back. But Bill sees something in him, and hey, we'll take a flyer on him. So they signed him. Will Clapp made the practice squad. Cameron Klein.
Yeah, he was the last one not to get on the team. Bean said that he if they didn't have to trade for another player, that he was going to make the team.
Is that Shavers?
No, that Clapp.
Oh, Clapp. Okay.
Clapp was the last. He was asked to get on the practice squad because they needed the room for Brandon coming in to return kicks.
Got it. So Cameron Klein made the practice squad. Richard Garage is back for another year on the practice squad. Daquan Hardy, practice squad. KJ Hamler, practice squad. You actually didn't you think Hamler was going to make the squad?
No, I never thought Hamler
was it Hamler? Oh, yeah. Somebody else.
No, I didn't think Hamler was going to make it.
All right. Well, Mike White, they signed Mike White, which I think is a really good signing.
I think it's an awesome signing.
I love what I've seen from him whenever he's had an opportunity.
He is the quarterback with no fear.
Yeah, love that. And then let's see, Kingsley Jonathan signed to the practice squad. Again, we missed on him. We thought he'd make the 53-man roster. Mike Edwards, the guard, not the safety. Takori Couch, Frank Gore Jr., which again, another good story. A lot of folks wanted him to. They were screaming he should make the 53-man roster after that 100-yard performance. But you have to remember, it was against second, mostly third stringers, people that were just getting a look to try to maybe present themselves for other teams. But again, he's a little undersized, but I love that he's back with us and he'll be able to work, get another year under our training for the Bills.
His biggest issue is that he's not fast. He ran a very slow time, and you can see that he just doesn't have breakaway speed.
Yeah. Yeah, and then pass blocking, of course, right? I mean, you got to be able to pass blocking, and I think that's the biggest concern. But we'll see. We'll see. And Royce says, yeah, he's right where he belongs. This is interesting. I did not see this. Justin Schroeder signed with the Raiders as a tight end. Tell you what, I mean, big enough for sure. What do you think happened here? I had high hopes for Schroeder. Big physical guy. It just never panned out, Jessica. What's your thoughts on that?
I think that coming out of high school, he was rated #1 wide receiver coming out of high school. And I don't think he ever knew how to improve himself. He didn't know how to practice, how to make himself a better wide receiver. I don't know if he was dedicated to it. He has all the physical tools that you would need. So it has to be
Yeah.
a mental issue.
Yeah. I mean, he had decent speed as well. It wasn't like he
Mhm.
was some slow bum. I think he's like 224,
Yeah.
a 6'4", something crazy. Just like, um, looks like Zeus out there with the muscles.
Adonis. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Hmm.
Crazy. But I wish him the best, and maybe a switch to another position. Tight end might do him well. Better be a good blocker. That's all I can say.
Yes.
Eli Yanku made the practice squad.
Hmm.
Branson Dean and Jalen Virgil, wide receiver. Quickly for the IR, Matt Milano is on IR, designated for return. Remember, you only get 8 of these. You could have done 2. I think they
Hmm.
used their 2 on when they're getting down to the 53-man cut.
You only have 8 to come back. You can
8.
put as many on IR as you want, but you
Yep.
can only have 8 to come back.
Yeah, 8 designated for return, which Darrington Evans is DFR.
Mhm.
Travis Clayton, he's on the IR. Shane Buechele on the IR. I think that's your favorite guy out there, Brett, quarterback Shane Buechele. D. Delaney on the IR. Terrell Burgess and Tommy Doyle is on the pup list.
Yes.
Uh,
That's a very, very sad story.
It
Tommy
is.
Doyle, he just hasn't had a break.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, what, he's torn his Achilles, I think it was twice. Was
I
it that?
I think an ACL and Achilles.
Yeah. Poor guy, but the Bills keeping him around, and I mean they're seeing something. It's a big guy. We had a lot of high hopes when he joined the team initially. Big guy, looked like he could be a nice depth piece, maybe something more. But like you said, just injuries, just unlucky there. It's crazy, like Jessica. There are just some people throughout the life of the NFL
Mhm.
that just get injured. Don't know what it is, why it is. It's not a luck thing. It's I don't know if it's even a conditioning thing. It might be how many miles they got on those tires through college. Maybe they played a lot of snaps in college. But
Mhm.
yeah, there's so many over the years that certain guys just can't stay healthy.
Yeah, and for a big man, a offensive lineman, a defensive lineman, it's not 1 year coming back from an ACL or Achilles
Yeah,
tear. It's 2 years. There's so much weight and pressure on their legs that they need that time to become the player that they used to be. You know, you just look at Von Miller. He he came back early last year, and he didn't seem to be himself until the last few weeks.
yep. And hopefully he continues what we saw like towards the end. I mean, if you look at that, if you rewatch that Chiefs game, you
Mhm.
watched it, he was actually playing pretty well in that game.
Yes, he was.
So hope to see more of that this year. Roy's saying Logan Thomas did the same thing. I did not know that, Roy. He's done well to switch to tight end. We'll see how it goes for shorter. Let's see here. So again, I think that kind of concludes like the 53-man roster. There were no big surprises.
No.
I named off a couple. Like I said, Daquan Hardy and Casey Toohill actually making it. But other than that, there wasn't much. And I do like who they brought onto the practice squad, as well as those additional signings of Mike White and Lewis Seen. Was there
Oh,
anyone else that you want to mention?
well, I want to talk about Mike White a little bit.
Okay.
He is going to be invaluable for us in game 2. On a short week going to Miami, he's going to be running the practice squad or the scout team against the Bills. He's going to help that defense understand what the Dolphins are going to be doing against us.
Yeah, I love that. And that's why we got MVS.
Mm-hmm.
Pick his brain about his 2 years with the Chiefs. All right, well let's pivot to our final segment of the night, and that is the sneak peek for the upcoming game.
Hmm.
The Arizona Cardinals travel to Buffalo, Highmark Stadium, 1 p.m. Eastern. And this upcoming Sunday, Jessica, next Sunday night, it's hard to believe we'll be talking about what happened in that game.
Yes.
And I have a lot of notes about the Cardinals, but I'm going to start with you. You are the Willy Wonka of the show tonight. Oompa Loompa has to turn it over to you. So go ahead. Talk to me about your thoughts on week 1 against the Cardinals.
I think the Bills are poised to do really well against the Arizona Cardinals. If we believe Joe Brady loves to run first and then pass off of that, the Cardinals were 31st in overall defense and like 32nd against the rush. I think that, and I also think that our defense is the exact same defense that we use against Lamar Jackson, and we know how to play them. So I'm thinking that it should be a good afternoon for the Bills.
I agree, but I worry. Of course. I mean, like I said, we have a lot of changes.
Mm-hmm.
So do them. So a few notes from the Cardinals. Look, they drafted 12 players. They had 12 draft picks. 10 of those draft picks made their squad. 3 of them are designated for return. That was their first round pick. Darius Robinson was taken 27th overall. He'll be returning at some point in the season. They also put on Elijah Jones, their cornerback, taken in the 3rd round. He's DFR. And Christian Jones, their offensive tackle, he's also DFR. Their 6th rounder, Deshaun Palmer, wide receiver, he's put on the practice squad. And then Jaden Davis, I don't think made the team. He was their 7th round pick cornerback. So when you draft 12 people and 10 of them made your roster, of course, 3 of them, like I said, are on IR. They've got a lot of change going on, a lot of moving pieces. Yes. They did get some help in free agency, but I look at who they signed and the year they had last year. I'm not like they signed Justin Jones, defensive tackle from Chicago, last year. They signed him to a 3-year, $31 million. Now, I'm not giving you all the guarantees. This is just the contract as a whole. There's less than that guaranteed. But, you know, and again, PFF, I don't watch these guys on a day-to-day basis, so I'm going to give you what their PFF score was last year. Guy was 49.3. How's he getting a $31 million contract? I don't know. Jonah Williams, they signed, right tackle out of Cincy, 2-year, $30 million. Jonah Williams struggled for the Bengals last year. He had a PFF score of 58.5. And if you're a good tackle, you're not going to be released, especially Joe Burrow, right? You need to protect Joe Burrow. That's been one of the biggest problems for the Bengals. And so Jonah Williams no longer there, but he was signed here.
The Cardinals are exactly where the Bills were in the 10 years ago. You have to overpay for free agents. Nobody wants to go there. They are most likely going to be 4th in that division this year. And so if you're an NFL player, you have options. You have other options than the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah. And so those 2, like there's 3 more I'm going to mention. They're all going to be starting. There's Sean Bunting. He's a cornerback, came over from Tennessee. They paid him 3 years, $25 million. His PFF score was 57.6. And then they have Bilal Nichols, defensive end from Vegas. They paid him 3-year, $21 million. Again, that's just the contract. I'm not giving you the guaranteed numbers. It's obviously less than that. And then they signed Mac Wilson, linebacker out of New England, who was a depth piece there. If you look at his PFF score, you're like, damn, they got a good guy. He's 81.5 score, but he had limited snaps. So, of course, his grade was better. And they signed him for a 3-year, $12 million deal, almost $13 million. And he's starting for them at linebacker. So, again, when you look at this, you think of the Bills having a lot of change, a lot of turnover. Big turnover here, especially like I said, you have 7 of your drafted guys making your 53-man roster. You signed these 5 free agents, none of them really studs. I mean, but you're paying them a lot of money, like you just said, Jessica. You have to. But I always am a little concerned because they do have their offense. They have some guys.
Yeah,
Talk to me about their offense.
Harrison Jr.
Yes.
That is the big question mark. Is he ready for prime time? And with his father, I think he's going to be. He's going to be ready for prime time coming out of the gate. His father was a technician, a complete technician out of Syracuse. And he had an awesome time or awesome career. Peyton Manning's #1 wide receiver. So with the how he came into the league with his father coaching him, I think he's going to be awesome.
Yeah, it's interesting to me that they must feel he's ready. And like he didn't have to do the combine. He stayed out of the combine. He says, I'm good enough. I didn't need to go to any NFL combine. So he missed that.
Mm-hmm.
And then they didn't play him much in preseason. Whereas we were playing Keen Coleman at least the first couple games. They're like, nope, we're not putting him out there. I think he was out there for 3 snaps total in preseason, 1 game. So I agree with you. He, everything he's done in college makes me think he is going to be that guy. Of course, with his dad as well. I think that's going to be a hit. We've got some other pieces: Michael Wilson, wide receiver, and Greg Dortch. I think the receiving crew is pretty damn good, especially when you add in Harrison there. Tight end, they got Trey McBride. The running backs, James Conner, and then they drafted in the 3rd round Trey Benson. So they've got weapons on the offensive side, and that's what scares me a little bit. It could be closer than people think, only because what worries me too is just because this is week 1. Week 1, and this is the first time that we're going to be throwing out the playbook, running plays in the playbook. We've got an offensive line that has a different center and a different left guard. I don't care who you are, how long you've worked together in camp or preseason. There is going to be some problems initially until you work out that chemistry. We've seen it with the Chiefs in the past when they've revamped their offensive line, their bookends a couple times. They always get off to a slow start, and we cannot have a slow start, Jessica. These type of games, we've got to win.
Week 2 through week 8 are hard games. We need to go at least 500, if not better than that. We need to come out first 8 games, probably at least 5-3, and that's going to be a difficult schedule. So I'm hoping that we're better off than we think we're going to be, or others that our worst case scenario is a good offense.
Yeah, and Roy, I'll throw my TV out the window if we lose this game when Bass misses a game-winning field goal. Let's not make it come down to a field goal, Roy, but at some point, Bass is going to have to make some critical field goals, because look at how many 1-score games we played last year, Jessica. I don't have the number off the top of my head, but it was majority of them.
Yeah.
Right?
Remember when they were saying that, can Josh win a close game?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that narrative has been long put to bed. I mean, we can win close games, but there were so many of them. And I think, as teams have gotten so good in the AFC, just around the league in general, every game is tough. And that's why I do not think of the Cardinals as a cakewalk, especially week 1 when your team is adjusting to all the changes. But like you said, Dolphins, this is crazy, right? We go play the Cardinals, and then we got to travel to Miami for a Thursday night football game against the Dolphins. And to me, everyone's talking about, I was watching a lot of the, we have Keith on the AFC East Summit, who started his own channel, which congratulations, Keith. He's got 3 other Dolphin guys with them. They all had him beat, the Dolphins beating the Bills in week 2. And of course they would. Why wouldn't they? But that's a huge one. Like, Jessica, if we can somehow pull that one out on Thursday Night Football, man, the tone's going to change for not only for the rest of the season, but it's going to make a statement to the league in general, right? That we're here, we're not regressing, we're out to win this thing. So that's a big one.
Yeah, I'm hoping that Josh Allen has to send a check to the Dolphins again, just because he's their daddy.
He sure is. So he's got so we got the Dolphins, right? You got the
Hmm.
Jaguars. So the Jaguars, for some reason, this is in Jacksonville.
Hmm. No, it's here
They
in Buffalo.
is it week
It's in
3?
Buffalo this year,
Oh yeah, Highmark. Yeah, you're
finally.
right. But they've given us trouble for the
Hmm.
longest period of time. Um, they've always given us a difficult time. And the Josh Allen from the Jaguars, who I don't know what
Hmm.
his new name is, Joshua something, um,
Yeah.
just has some of his best games against the Buffalo Bills. So they're coming off a year a little bit. They're disappointed from last year, and they're not an easy game here.
Hmm.
Then you got the Ravens. Um, that one's in Baltimore. Then you got the
Yes.
Texans in Houston, and that one
Hmm.
week 5. Everyone's going to be up for it. So you can just see in those first 5 games, and then you go Monday Night Football at MetLife um, against the
Jets,
Jets.
Jets.
Yes, Jets, Jets. So, and that, I mean, we have 3 games, week 4, 5, and 6, where we're on the road,
Hmm.
Jessica.
Yeah.
Texans, Baltimore, Texans, Jets. Not easy.
No, not at all.
So, what were you saying? By week what you feel we got to
By
be?
week 8, we
Okay.
need to be at least 5-3, and at worst 4-4. If we're not there, we're in trouble.
Yeah. So, week 7, we play the Titans at Highmark. Then we go on the road again, West Coast to play Seattle.
Hmm.
So, I'm telling you, so there's no real gimmies, and I'm not going to say any team's a gimme. Heck, we lost a game to the Patriots last year,
Yes.
right? Interdivision games, anything can happen. I don't care how good one team is or how good they've been. When you play a team so often, you just kind of know what they're going to do, and you come up with the right game plan on the right day, and things happen. Um, towards the end of the year, we finished like we got the Rams, we got the Niners, we got the Lions, got Kansas City.
Hmm.
Oh my goodness. So you look at that, and again, my concerns come back, but it's insane, Jessica, the schedule we have.
And the easy part of the schedule is New England, week 16 and week 18.
Yep. And the Jets in between.
Yes.
And the nice thing is 2 out of those 3 games are at Highmark, and then we
Hmm.
finished with New England on the road. So anyhow, I mean, it's a tough schedule, but back to our sneak peek. Um, you know, again, a lot of changes for the Bills, but more changes. And like you said, Jessica, they were 31st overall defensively, the
Yes.
Cardinals. Looking at who they've drafted and basically who they've picked up from free agency, I don't see that changing much at all.
No, not until probably mid-season. They've got to put their defense together.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So we should be able offensively, should be able to move the ball extremely well,
Hmm.
and put up points. And defensively, I think it's going to be a little bit of challenge. I like that we're playing them early because I do
Hmm.
think as the Cardinals start to gel with a lot of those rookies, I'd
Hmm.
hate to play them later in the season. Right? I really would. I wouldn't want to face them. They're going
Hmm.
to be dangerous.
I hope, I'm not a Kyler Murray fan at all. Um,
What did he
I
do
think
to you, Jessica? What's wrong?
he he is short. Getting behind a big offensive line, big defensive players coming at him, his vision is blurred, and he's had 2 or 3 injuries to his legs at this point, and I don't think he's as mobile as he used to be. And so, if he's not as mobile as he used to be, I think he's going to be hit more often.
Yeah. I mean, he came back last year, so he played 8 games in 2022, got hurt. I think it was the ACL, right?
Mhm.
And then he comes back in 2023, plays 8 games. I think he came and finished the
Three
remainder of the
and
year. 8 games.
five.
Yeah, it was 3-5.
Mhm.
His rating and QBR rating were nothing really to speak of.
Mhm.
But he didn't have much of a team around him, and they've added some nice pieces, but I think it's going to take time. So
Yes,
again, there should be no reason. I do
there
think it'll
shouldn't
give our
be.
right. There shouldn't be. but it will give our defense a challenge. I don't think we're not going to be shutting anyone out. This team, I think, will move the ball. They have enough skilled players, and again, they try to rework that offensive line. And you're right, Murray maybe not be the runner that he was, nor would he probably should be. So if he wants to stay healthy, but we'll see. Let's see. Roy's saying Murray's kind of hard to sack. Little jitterbug for sure. Well, he used
Yes,
to.
he
We'll
is.
see if he still is. As long as Allen doesn't do the week one Jets disaster, we'll be fine. Yeah, don't turn that ball over.
As long as Josh Allen isn't playing for both teams.
Oh yeah. And Roy, I've made this prediction a couple times. I'm gonna say it again because this is the week before the opening game. I believe Josh Allen has his best ever interception percentage, which means it'll be the lowest. And I think his best ever, he was like 1.7. Last year, I think it was 2.9. It's a little high, but I think he brings that down. And for all the reasons that we've talked about in the offseason, I think Brady will run the ball more. He'll have more shorter routes. I mean, we'll distribute the ball to more players. If you're throwing these little dump offs and short routes, and we'll utilize the running backs out of the backfield more with the passing game. I just think that alone takes that number down. But Josh will be Josh at times, and I'll have to make a play and maybe he throws a pick or two here. But I do think this will be his lowest interception percentage he's ever had. I don't know if you feel the same, Jessica, but
I think that Joe Brady's offense is going to be a matchup nightmare for teams. Curtis Sanders coming out of the backfield. What are you going to do? Are you going to follow him as a wide receiver? Are they going to hand it off to him? I don't think teams are going to know what's going to be going at them a lot of the time. They could go 3 tight ends and just run the ball down people's throats. And if they go into the box and they're heavy in the box, they can just pass out of it. And there's not much they can do.
Yeah. And if Josh needed to run, he can run. I mean, this is what I'm excited about, but I just don't know. I haven't seen it yet. They haven't showed their hand at all in preseason, which is a good thing, I suppose. I always get a little upset. I'm like, come on. You really think there's plays you've never, these defenses haven't seen now? Put out some of your plays in preseason. But this is where we get to see it. All the best on the team out there. And I can't wait.
I can't wait either. I'm so hoping that what we think the offense is going to be an offense that's going to run the ball down people's throats again and again and again. And once they stuff that box, we're going to pass out of it and we'll have wide open wide receivers.
Yeah. That's what I'm hoping for. Weston chiming in saying, I just want to say, Josh Allen, he's a Chiefs fan. We love you, Weston. Thank you for joining us. He's not overrated. Come on. But these are NFL players, Weston and Chad, saying this. Come on.
Hey,
I hope they didn't pull Patrick Mahomes, and Mahomes said, it's Josh. Of course it's Josh Allen.
The only quarterback that the Chiefs fear is Josh Allen. No one else. It's Josh Allen. And, Nick, I hate Nick Wright, but he does make that point that the Chiefs game plan and are worried about Josh Allen more than any other quarterback in this league.
Yeah, I have to agree. And I think our Chiefs guys would say that as well. Roy saying Dolphins will be suing Allen for mental abuse soon. Allen to the Dolphins is like Mahomes is to the Broncos. Allen to the Dolphins is like Mahomes is to the Broncos. Gotcha. Yeah, yes. For sure. Dominates them. Not a gambler myself, but do you all know what the Vegas line is for the game? Well, Jessica might have it. If she doesn't, we'll get a quick check real quick for you.
Let's see.
I'll let you look that up, Jessica. It's a quick Google.
Okay.
Vegas odds, Bills versus the Cardinals.
Yeah. Okay, I'll do.
All right. Speaking of overrated, Roy, Broncos are the poster child. How so?
Mm.
How so? How are they being like? Is there a lot of people talking about them? I haven't heard a lot, but maybe I'm missing something. Chad, our other great chief friend here. How you doing, Chad? Do we gotta bump the show about an hour so you can join us like at start time? I thought 10 Eastern. I
It's
thought 10 Eastern
five
was
and
a
a
good
half.
time. 5.5 bills. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I might smash that. I
Yeah.
can't believe it, but might smash that. Take it. And what's the over? What's the over under? Does that have it there?
Yeah. Let's see what the over under is 48.
Kind of like that too.
Yeah.
Those two teams, I think, like we just
Yeah.
said, 31st defense. I think the Bills put up a good.
I sort of don't like that.
You don't like
I
that?
would not take the 48. I'm thinking that the Bills off or defense is going to shut this Cardinals offense down, and so
Really?
the Bills might score 30, and the Cardinals might score 14, and that's not going to cover it.
All
That'll
right.
be
Well,
44.
all right. We'll take a little a bet here, Jessica. You're taking
Okay,
the under. I'm taking
I'm
the
taking the
over.
under.
The only
Okay.
reason I never like to bet the under because you have to wait to the very last play to determine like how many people's hearts been broken where they've got it in the bag. They're celebrating. Some kickoff happens or something stupid happens and like a safety occurs and oh my
Mm-hmm.
god, you just lost. Whereas the over, man, there's been times I've won the over at halftime. It's,
Yeah.
teams just going crazy with scoring, but I like it, Jessica. So we'll see. You take the
Mm-hmm.
under, I'll take the over. All right, let's see here. Roy's coming back and saying, I think Coleman cracked 600 yards receiving this year. That's my concern with the wide receiver room. I think 600 is a great number for him. Honestly, I really do because I think with the ball distribution, I think 600 is fair as long as there's 10 touchdowns in there, Roy, in the red zone.
Yeah. As long as we're scoring 50 touchdowns, I don't care where it comes from. Is it
Yeah.
Coleman or Sanders? Is it Kincaid? Is it Knox? We're a 12 personnel team this year. Unlike any other year, 12 personnel, yeah, I'm thinking 50, 60% of the time.
Yeah, I was able to get Dalton Kincaid in my draft this last Friday in my fantasy, and I got Josh Allen.
Mm-hmm.
I loaded up a little bit on the Bills. I think Kincaid's is going to be a stud this year in fantasy football, and that's going to be his main target. He's probably going to have the most targets, but again, I like what you said, Jessica. Coleman 600 yards, Khalil Shakir 800. I think Khalil Shakir
Yeah.
is going to surprise.
I'd rather have 5 people at 800 yards
Yeah,
than 2 people over 1,000.
yeah, absolutely love that. Let's see here. Weston says the Broncos aren't even overrated; they're just bad. When they signed Wilson, all the talk was division title and deep playoff run. Well, this year, that's the Jets. No.
Yeah, exactly. We don't know how Aaron Rodgers is going to be with the Jets. He played in a very weak NFC North his entire career. The Bears are bad. The Lions are bad. The Vikings were bad most of the time. And he was guaranteed at least 4 wins every year in the division. And so all he had to do was go 500 outside of the division, and he's in the playoffs.
Yep. So we'll see. I can't wait for that. So a lot of good stuff coming. I can't believe it. We're less than a week away now, Jessica. Like I said, next Sunday night on the rush hour, we'll be talking about a big Bills victory. By the way, we didn't go deep into the it's just a sneak preview. We got the Ruthless show that's going to be doing the pre-games, and they'll go deeper into the game. They'll look at different matchups, talk about who they think are the key players for the game and stuff like that. So can't talk about all that tonight. That'll leave some stuff for them. But we'll be back next Sunday for the post game, and Jake will be back as well. I know there's an AFC summit coming up this Tuesday at I think it's 5:30.
That's going to be interesting.
Eastern. Yeah, watch those 4 guys. They'll be talking about their week 1 matchups. But yeah, lots of good stuff. I know fantasy football is going to be returning here, I think, after the first week. So not this upcoming week, but the week after. Our fantasy football show will be back. I'm not sure if it's Tuesday night or Wednesday nights, but good stuff there if you're in a fantasy football league, because those two guys, they play in every fantasy football league there is, and they know so much information. Time Traveler is back. Let's see here. He says, Jesus, I mean, amen. I mean, what the heck? Nice to see Jessica. You know Time Traveler? Do you know Time Traveler, Jessica?
I do not.
All right. Well,
But it's nice to see you also, Time Traveler.
Yeah, Time Traveler. It's been around. Thank you, Time Traveler. So once again, if you're new to the channel, please drop a nickel. We're going to end it here. We're going to get out just slightly over an hour. You know, we've done polls ourselves, Jessica, and they say you call yourself the rush hour. You should finish within an hour. So
yes. And I want to thank everybody who came in today and gave us comments, and we'd love some comments after the show also.
Oh, definitely. If you're catching this on a rewatch, let us know your thoughts. You know, on the 53-man roster, we talked about a lot of things. Josh Allen overrated. We talked about the upcoming game. Let us know. And thanks, Jessica. Appreciate you helping me out tonight.
Thanks for inviting me, Mike.
Yeah, it's always fun. Anyhow, Time Traveler, you support the Bills? I'm hoping. Let us know. If you do, want to see you back, sir. I think Chiefs will focus on Chargers in the first 4 games. What do you mean by that? They don't play the Chargers 4 times. What's going on?
Maybe that
probably go 2-2. Interesting.
Okay. Yeah, I think the Chargers are the biggest threats to the Chiefs in the West.
Gotcha. Yeah, this Thursday's game, we didn't talk about that, but I'm excited about it. It's a great game to kick off, right? The defending or the AFC East or the AFC Championship rematch, right? Baltimore, they go to Arrowhead and play the Chiefs. That's going to be an incredible game.
And one of them has to lose.
Time Traveler, let me tell you something, Time Traveler. Hate's too strong of a word. You know, your team was like us not that long ago, hadn't won a Super Bowl. But now you have some. But we have 2 great Chiefs fans that are part of our community here. We got Weston, we got Chad the Chief. They're in our Discord. Join our Discord, it's free. And we have a Chiefs thread just for you guys, but they usually talk it up in all of our threads. So Time Traveler, want to see you back.
Yeah, I'd love to see Time Traveler back next Sunday, talking about what he thought of the Chiefs versus the Ravens. It'd be nice to talk about that also.
All right, yeah, he's got they play the Ravens, Falcons, Chargers in week 1 through 4.
And then is it Chargers week 4?
Yeah, I think that's what he's saying there.
Yeah,
he's saying that. Honestly, I think your quarterback, if he's treated right, is the scariest guy against my team in KC. So you agree he's not overrated, Time Traveler. Come on, like the media was talking about this week. So Time Traveler, where you you've been traveling time for, I don't know, years, maybe for decades and decades. But where are you from? Are you right there in KC, Time Traveler? Yeah, we said that. Yeah, Chargers in week 4. And he said, yeah, he's underrated. Yeah, so I was kind of saying he's not overrated. He's underrated. Appreciate those comments. But yeah, Time Traveler, seriously, join the Discord, talk to Weston, talk to Chief, Chad the Chief, and talk to the rest of the gang. We've got a lot of friendly people there. We keep it friendly. We love all fan bases, and it's good stuff there. Yes, Chad, love that football is back. We can just sit here for 30 minutes. Just love that football is back, Jessica. It is here.
I can't.
And the nice thing is, a lot of us, we have Monday off. So when I think of Monday, I can occupy myself enough because we just got to wait a few
Wednesday, and then
then we got some football's back. Love that football's back. It says Time Traveler. I'm in Kansas City, Kansas. Beautiful. Oh yeah, fellow Chad, Chief Chad. Love it. Yeah, we got some good ones on here. Time Traveler. Let me tell you, Weston and Chad in the Discord. Weston, he's like a beat writer. I'll tell you what, he gets news faster than any beat writer out to all of us. Keeps us updated in the Chiefs thread about what's going on in Kansas City. So Weston, thank you as always. And Chad, jumps out there as well. Appreciate you, Chad. Big supporters of the channel. Good friends. They become really good friends, and they'll be on our show. We've had them on. We've had Chad. I don't know what it's going to take to get Weston on. I think it's kind of like you, Jessica. We had to work out that contract. The money had to be right.
Signing bonus was a big deal.
Signing bonus was a big deal. And Weston, he's just waiting for that big number, and it just hasn't happened. Oh, Roy, come on. The UFO, come on. Oh. Unwatchable football league. That's what I'm saying, Roy. I know some people are going to be upset with that. Unwatchable. Did the Bills strengthen the O-line? Okay. Well, we can answer this question. So from last year to this year, we probably took a step back initially. And I say that only because Connor McGovern was our left guard, had one of his best years of his career. He played next to Deion Dawkins, and he played next to Mitch Morse. So you like the fact that that was a very strong line, and Mitch Morse was our center. We lost Mitch Morse. So, and that was our own choice. We moved on. We have cap issues, and he was like a $10 million savings. So we moved on. I was very upset, disappointed. I wanted in there for one more year, and we moved on from him. So Connor McGovern, who played left guard, who played center in college, one full year, and a couple of the other years he was over at center. So he's got the experience, Jessica. He played a little bit, a couple snaps. I think there was one game for the Cowboys where he had to fill in, but most of his NFL career has been at guard. So he moves over to center. It's a question mark. And then we have David Edwards, who has come over. We had him last year, pretty much just played in the heavy packages. He came over from the Rams. He's got a Super Bowl ring, but he'll be playing to the left. So there's a little change of guard there. And I wouldn't say they're as good as last year at all right now. I'd be kind of dumb to say that until I see it in action. Jessica, I don't know what you think on that.
I am excited for Torrance and Brown on the right side. I think they're going to be even better than they were last year. And so, to me, I think it's a wash right now.
Yeah, well, on the right side, I agree. Torrance and Spencer Brown, that chemistry is still there.
Yeah.
Deion Dawkins has said it multiple times that he has never had back-to-back years. He's been on a couple podcast interviews. He's never had the same player next to him 2 years in a row, which is absolutely insane. I would have loved to have seen that happen. It's not, so we'll see how that plays out. But we got some depth pieces there who've been with the Bills, and I don't know, maybe you can talk to who we might have brought in, Jessica, as far as depth pieces on the O-line. But to answer your question, no, I would say we're a little bit behind right now, only because we haven't seen what this new line's going to look like.
The depth pieces on the offensive line are the two rookies at this point, Gable and the center out of Georgia.
Oh, yeah, Van Pran Granger, who looked really good, and he's played for a national champ. So our depth pieces are good, and there's a lot of folks that were like, hey, Van Pran Granger, if things go bad quickly, I believe they'll insert him at center and move Connor McGovern back to left guard. So we have that option, which I do feel pretty comfortable about. Chad, I want to say thank you again, sir, for the $5 super chat. You are simply amazing. Here's a Chiefs fan supporting a Bills channel, and he's just a great guy. He's been on our show multiple times. Gonna get him on again. He's like, let's go Chiefs. Super Bowl banner, raising night on opening night. They're raising the banner on Thursday night. Back to back. They're looking to go 3-peat. Weston said, hey, if they do 3-peat, he's pulling for it. Then he'll put on the Bills jersey and try to help us get one. So I appreciate that. But Chad, thanks as always, man. We really appreciate your support. Let's see here. What else we got? Let's see. That's what I'm saying is going to be, Allen is going to be the next Phillip Rivers. Great quarterback who never gets the ring. Don't say that, time traveler. But there's so many great quarterbacks. Jim Kelly, Dan Marino, just never got a ring. I think that's a crime right there. It's criminal.
Dan Marino won his rookie season to the Super Bowl, never got back.
Yeah. Second year in a row, time traveler going for three. Let's see here. Chiefs had the most underrated defense, but we lost Snead. Willie Gay. So
Mhm.
what do you think, guys? Chad and Weston, you gonna overcome that? Who'd you pick up to take their places? All right, if Weston is willing to do that for Buffalo, I will too. So Chad the Chief, love it, says, hey,
Hey,
if the Chiefs get the three-peat, he's going to be putting on some Bills gear and trying to bring a little bit of that winning culture. We have a winning culture. Just got to
yeah.
get the Super Bowl culture going, winning Super Bowl culture. So I love that.
Hey, if we were in the NFC, I think that we would have been in a Super Bowl at least once, if not twice.
If we weren't in the AFC, you said?
If we weren't in the AFC, if we were in the NFC, I think that we would have been in Super Bowl at least once or twice.
Okay. And you're
You know,
saying that with that
because we're going
90s
up
team?
going against Patrick Mahomes
Oh, yeah, yeah,
and the
yeah.
Chiefs, and if we could get away from that, we'd be okay.
Yeah, that's been our bad luck, right? In the 90s,
Mhm.
we were the best team in the AFC. We were probably, better than most of the NFC. However, the NFC East was a
Yeah.
beast.
Yes.
Those teams were just a
Great
bit above.
coaches.
Great
Great
coaches too.
coaches.
Yeah, that's the only reason they won the first one,
Jimmy
the Super
Johnson,
Bowl. Yeah,
Parcells, Gibbs, all great coaches.
you know who coached the defense and the wide right
Yeah,
game? Bill Belichick.
Belichick. Yeah.
Right. I love the story. Or it's not a documentary, but I've read um, the whatever they put out about it, and it
Mhm.
was just crazy. They had guys like Lawrence Taylor on that team.
Yeah.
Lawrence Taylor was on that team, and they got together in a meeting, and they hated to give up the run. This was the
Hmm.
story. The story goes, that team took a lot of pride in not giving any running yardage to running backs. Belichick came in and said, "Hey, you guys need to listen to me. You're going to beat this team. You let Thurman get his, but we're going to shut down that wide receiver." And those were back in the
Hmm.
days when you could just punish the wide receivers, and they did. Like you can get away with things. You weren't called for the penalties, and they had the Bills receivers like I don't want to say they did because we had
A
Andre Reed
lot
on
of
our show.
holding. A lot
Yeah,
of holding.
they were getting away with a lot of stuff, but they were nailing them as well, just nailing them
Hmm.
beyond the 5 yards. Um, and that Bills wide receiver group was just struggling with that. And again, that was Belichick. He said, "Look, let's let Thurman's going to get his, but we're
Hmm.
going to shut down this," and they really did. They really did. Of course, then the wide right. So we've had that bad luck, unfortunately.
Poor
But the rest
Norwood.
of those other three Super Bowls, Jessica, those teams, those NFC teams, were just too
We were
damn good.
outcoached, outmatched,
Yeah,
in all those. The Dallas had a better team, talent
yeah,
wise. As far as the Redskins, I think we were outcoached, and and Parcells was just lucky.
yeah, yeah. And nowadays, of course, you got one guy in our way, and that's Pat Mahomes. I say more than Pat Mahomes. It's a whole team. He's got one of the best,
Andy Reid.
greatest coaches, of all time. So, I mean, if we could just put together something special, it's like the Patriots left and handed off the baton. And so now here we are trying to beat the Chiefs, and we'll see.
And just remember, Andy Reid did not win his first Super Bowl until he was like 20 years in as a head coach.
And I was with the Chiefs.
Yeah, he was with
Yeah,
Philadelphia for I think 15 years,
yeah,
and he went to a Super Bowl, but he didn't win one.
correct.
So, and
Yeah,
and so I'm trying to say that as far as Sean McDermott, let's be patient with him. It's going to take some time, and to be a winning Super Bowl coach, um, it might take a little bit longer, or just as long as Andrew did.
yeah. I mean, Allen is going to get one. Manning took 8 years. Yeah, poor Manning here to go up
Yeah.
against Tom Brady, but he finally got one.
Hmm. I think Josh Allen's going to get 1, 2, maybe even 3.
Yeah, I hope so. We'll see. Um, anyhow, we went a little longer. Again, the polls are going to go out, and people are going to be like, "There's that rush hour. They can never stay to an hour." But time traveler, we're always willing to extend our time when someone comes in late, and we appreciate that you came in. And he says, "Well, Andy Reid also eats 20 cheeseburgers for breakfast. Come on now. So how long do you think he's really going to be coaching? How much longer? I think if he gets the three-peat, it might be time to walk off into the sunset.
I think as long as he has a good team, he's going to continue to coach. And he's not that far away from Belichick with 6.
Well, that's true. That's
You
true.
know, he's 3 already. All he needs 3 more in the next 5 years, and he's tied with Belichick and catching him in all-time wins too.
Yeah, he's like, well, we got some last minute coming in here. Chad's thinking if he gets the three-peat, he retires. Reich says rush hour traffic longer than an hour, so you're good. We will die a happy man. We're gonna have a coronary on the field if he's gonna have a coronary if he gets the three-peat. I mean, the three-peat is gonna be, if it happens, I'll be glad that I'm alive to see it. Mm-hmm. And honestly, if the Bills don't knock the Chiefs out, I'm gonna want to see it. I want to be alive if I get to see something like this. It's, I think the Steelers had a chance. When they won their 4 Super Bowls, they won two in a row, and they won another 2 in a row. But there was a little bit in between. I don't know if it was 1 year or 2 years where they didn't go. But
Same with Dallas.
Same with Dallas. Yeah.
Dallas won 2 in a row. Then San Francisco, I think, won, and then Dallas the next year.
Yeah. So it's an incredible feat. It's extremely difficult. And if you're able to accomplish it, nothing, I'll be celebrating with you guys. I mean, it'll be incredible. So anyhow, now we got to end the show. Mike, I'm getting some Bills gear. I don't know. They keep pulling me back in. I love it. Mike, I'm getting some Bills gear once we get 5 Super Bowls and 3-peat. I'm rooting for the Bills. 3-peat immediately puts Patrick Mahomes and Bill Belichick in the gold talk with Brady and Belichick. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think he meant to say, and Andy Reid in the gold talk with Brady and Belichick. But yes, totally agree. 100%. Some people are already saying, I've heard some of my friends say Mahomes is the greatest ever. Already.
He went into the greatest situation with Andy Reid. He had a playoff team already to go for him. And he's a superior quarterback, and he's done great in that situation.
Yeah.
Josh Allen had crap when he came in.
Totally true. Yep, no. Time travel. Those things are correcting me. I'm had a gummy. All right. Well, listen, that's it. We're gonna get out of here. I think I hear family. I still have a late dinner. It is nice, Jessica, to be doing a show. Usually we do these shows. It's not so late for me on the West Coast here, but it's late for the East Coast. And then you have to go to work tomorrow. Have off. Looking forward to it. And I want to thank everyone. Yeah, everyone that's been out there in the chat with us. Appreciate it. We can't do it without you. You guys are incredible. We love all fan bases. Time Traveler, hope to see you again because, like I said, we have 2 great Chiefs guys that have become good friends of the channel, and they're talking it up in the Discord. And I'll put the link in the Discord. I didn't tonight, but I forgot. But I'll put it in the Discord if you want to join the Discord. I'll put the link there. It's free. Promise you, it's free. Good talk there. All right, everyone. Jessica, thanks again. Any final words from you?
Mike. What's that?
Good. Any final words?
No, I'm good. Thanks. Just other than go Bills.
All right. Go Bills. See you Thursday night. Let's go. Football's back. Can't wait.
Yes, it is.
Bye-bye.